We're afraid of what people will think, or we're afraid we're not good enough, or we're afraid we're too much. And so we hold ourselves back. When we do that, we're muting ourselves. And there are too many people that are muting themselves in the world. And I, for so many years, was one of them. I've discovered the power of unmuting myself, of showing up in the world in a way that is joyfully expressed and boldly alive. That's something that has been so important to me as I've discovered how freeing it is to be unmuted, to unmute our body and to unmute our ideas and to unmute our desires, to unmute ourselves in relationships and at work, and to be our own advocates and to ask for what we want and need. The unmuted life is a life that is fully alive and fully expressed and confident and clear. And to me, it's the only way that I know how to live now. I know what it's like to feel confined and stuck and small and silenced. And I also know what it feels like to be expressed and alive and joyful and present and seen. And it's so much better of a life to be unmuted. And that is what I want to bring you into. Are you ready to unmute yourself? Let's make it happen. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. So glad to have you all here for the Unmute Yourself show. I see some regulars that are in the comments here. So if you've joined us, let us know. Feel free to drop in the comments. Let us know that you are here. I see Maureen is here. So glad that you've joined us today. We've got Rich from snowy Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, 85 on Saturday and snow overnight. Makes so much sense. Veda is here. So glad that you are here, Veda. Nathan is here from Colorado. Good to have you here. Kim Beach. We were going back and forth on a comment thread about music, and Kim played a ukulele song, I think at her son's wedding. Kim, correct me if I'm wrong. And we were trying to figure out a way for her to get it to me. So we will figure out a way, Kim. If you want to email me, I'll message you afterwards and we can figure out how to make that happen. Because I just need to see it. It needs to happen. If you're joining us, again, drop in the chat. Let us know where you are joining us from. Would love to welcome you to the show. It's going to be an awesome show today. I'm so excited for the conversation that we're going to have in just a little bit. And Melinda, Melinda says, wouldn't miss a Monday episode. Melinda, you are so kind. Thank you for that. I'm really, really grateful to you for being here. Just a quick shout out to the team that gets the analytics to us from this show, so that if you consistently get invited to this show, there's probably a reason why. The analytics of the show are powered by Peekaboo Live. So shout out to Daniel Hall and Nancy Deborah Barrows for all the work that they do on the back end of that. That's really able to give me some insights about, who's showing up and, who's most engaged in the content that I share, so that I can make sure that you get invited to future shows and that you know about things before anybody else does. So just a heads up about how that works. And John, good to have you here. And we've got, wonderful. First time being able to join from Texas. Wonderful. Welcome. We're glad that you are here. I want to do a quick mention of something really exciting from the man behind the curtain, the person who puts all these comments up on the screen and just produces the show, Tim Sohn. Really exciting. But his ebook is now available. I'm going to give you some insights on where to find it. It's called Perspectives on Cancer. Cancer patients, survivors, and supporters share their stories. And the purpose of the book is to let those in the cancer community know they're not alone, and to give them the courage to share their stories when they're ready. And you can learn more about his work on perspectivesoncancer.com. You can find the book there. The ebook's available, and then the paperback's going to be available in the next few days. So that is very exciting. Very exciting. We want to celebrate Tim for unmuting himself and sharing his story and being brave. It's so hard to share stories of our struggle. And he's really stepped into that in a powerful way. And it's awesome to see. And so, Tim, just want to let you know that we're celebrating you and what you've accomplished. So amazing. So exciting. And Zach already said, congrats on the book, just ordered it. So boom, there you go. Zach is like everyone's hype man. We love Zach. Welcome. So to get started today, I want to ask you all a question. I know one of the things I've shared on LinkedIn, some of you have seen it, I know, that I've, been struggling over the past couple of weeks and past couple of months. There's been a lot of heaviness, a lot of sadness of things that I've been, kind of dealing with, some of which I'd shared, some of which I haven't. And one of the practices I've gotten back into that's been really helpful is tracking bright spots. So I started doing this at the start of the pandemic when everything got disrupted and turned upside down. And I started to, at the end of each day, I would make a list in my journal from 1 to 10. And I would write what were 10 bright spots, 10 good things, 10 moments of where I felt, alive, or where I felt appreciative or grateful. It could have been something as simple or as small as I saw a beautiful flower on my walk today, or a friend reached out and texted me. Or in the case of, the past 2 weeks, Veda, who's one of the regulars that comes on the show, sensed that something was off with me and reached out and said, hey, I want to check in. And Rich, who also comes to the show regularly, sent me a card. Just so thoughtful, so it's really important for us to unmute ourselves and to share when we're struggling and to let people in to support us. That's really, really powerful. And it's also important for us to take a moment to pause. And in the midst of the hard things we're going to, acknowledge the things that are good, even if it's a small thing. So we're going to ask you to take a moment and drop in the chat, and welcome. Toby's here. Yay, Toby. Drop into the chat, and Nancy's joined us. Drop in the chat and let us know what has been a bright spot for you in the past week. A glimmer of hope, a moment of joy, something you're grateful for or appreciative of. What has been something that has been a bright spot for you? As you're dropping these in, I'll share a couple of mine. I've been traveling for work, and it's been, can be a lot. And Saturday, I just had a day all to myself. It was amazing. I went to therapy, and I went and got lunch and took a leisurely time at this cafe near my house, and did a little shopping at an aromatherapy place, and had a relaxing day with no agenda. It was amazing. That was a bright spot for sure. And then I got to hang out with a friend yesterday that I hadn't seen in 4 months. We went to lunch, celebrated her birthday. It was so nice. So take a moment. Veda says, my gratitude journal includes highlighting lovely things that have happened in the day. Yeah. And hi, George. Welcome, George. Oh my gosh, George has been so brave and unmuting himself and sharing his poetry online, which has been awesome. And that's going to turn into music, right, George? You're going to especially love this conversation today. Clean skin at the doctor. Yay, Rich, we are celebrating that. That's amazing. Awesome news. If you're just joining us, we're dropping our bright spots into the chat, and then I'm going to bring on our guest. Kim did a paddle out after a Good Friday beach service with your son in Encinitas, California. It was amazing. That sounds so awesome. Zach, last week was Holy Week and for Greek Easter, and I really took the time and reflected on its meaning. Amazing. As I enter the building at work, I always pause, take a deep breath, and gaze over the conservation area beside our building, Toby says. Toby works for an engineering firm. Brian, hello, Brian. A bright spot was talking to you last week, my friend. George, this week stepped out of my comfort zone and shared an important bit of art. Yes, you did. Welcome. Okay, we've got Carla here spending time with your 1-year-old great nephew. How sweet. Veda, bright spot's been planning the next 5 years and decided to include the dream of having a dog, a corgi whose name will be Jake. Oh my gosh, corgis are the cutest things ever. Veda, we fully support this, and we fully support you sharing all the pictures all the time. Maureen, serving my clients and watching 80 for Brady with your mom. Let's see. My sister who lives in a different city sent a text message early one morning simply to say how much she missed me and was thinking of me. Natalie. Oh, Natalie, I'm so glad you're here. We don't get to see each other often due to how busy her work schedule is. Sometimes that's all it takes. A text to let somebody know, hey, I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of you and I miss you. It can be something like that can mean so much to let someone know that they're seen. And then Rich, oh, love it, Rich, did a presentation at UW-Madison on Atomic Habits, James Clear's book. So good. The room was overflowing with attendees. I am not surprised. Toby, George writes poetry. George, maybe you can drop a hello there. He posted something recently that I think you would enjoy, Toby, so you should connect with him. Easter last week, corgi butt. All right, y'all, this is amazing. You always make me smile. But without further ado, oh my gosh, Carla, your company's sending you to SHRM Conference in Vegas. Well, guess what, Carla? I'm going to be speaking at that. We need to connect. Send me a message. Awesome. So without further ado, I'm so excited, you all, to introduce you to this person whose work you all have had the privilege of hearing. You have had the privilege of hearing the beautiful work of the person I'm going to bring on. I can't wait. I just can't wait. I know if y'all have heard the song Somebody, which I know pretty much everyone here has multiple times. Natalie said she already listened to it 3 times today, which is awesome, Natalie. I'm going to introduce you to our guest today, who's Leroy Hyson II. He's a husband, soon to be father, as in like in the next couple of weeks. Producer, songwriter, sound engineer, vocal arranger, singer, and entrepreneur based in Baltimore, Maryland. So we are in the same city. As a graduate of Towson University, he spent the past 4 years helping others see their creative ideas come to life. And he's also seen great success with his world popular a cappella group called the Trills. So check out their stuff. So fascinating. They've been called, what's it, the Walmart Pentatonix? He's like, I'll take it. Please compare us to Pentatonix. Like, let us, we will be that all day long. And they're super, super talented. So the Trills, you can find them on TikTok, everywhere, as a music director and vocal arranger. And now he has the goal to build a company that can help people around the world achieve their creative goals. And he's launching his rebrand of Hyson House in a week and a half, 2 weeks from today, I think. So without further ado, I want to bring on the person that also I should mention that I work with, who does all the musical arranging and the composition of the songs that you hear, who I wrote somebody with, produced somebody with. So without further ado, Leroy Hyson.
Woo woo! Hey. Oh. That piano part was played on this keyboard.
It was like, oh my gosh. And it happened 10 months ago, September of 20.
Oh my gosh.
9 months. When was that? Dude, it's already been 4 months this year, 8 months ago.
Oh my, what is time? Time does not exist.
It's like,
wow.
Crazy, right? Yeah, that was, and I had this notebook. This notebook that, Leslie Wyrick is here. Oh, so good to have you here. And Aaron, welcome. This book is, Ashley Evans makes these really cool journals and sent this to me. You Are Not Alone. And this is the journal that I started. It was September 9th, 2022. And I wrote at the very top of the page for our first songwriting session, I am somebody. You matter, you're worthy, I see you, celebrated, no mistakes. No, they're all the things. And so we're going to get to that. Cool. Talking about the song. But would love to hear from you starting off, Leroy. What's been a bright spot for you in the past week before we dig into your story?
Oh, man. So you mentioned literally in a couple of weeks having a baby. So, everyone's so nice on this show. I love it. It's so kind. So we, yes, my wife and I were having a baby, and it has been, the past couple of weeks has been a roller coaster of good news, not so good news, maybe good news, maybe bad news from doctors, kind of just like, hey, we want to test you more and check on more things. We're not sure about these things. And it's been a lot of back and forth. But this past week, we went into our appointment. And they did a whole fetal stress monitoring, and baby boy is extremely healthy. Everything's good. He's in the right position, right timing. They are going to induce her early. So he's now, instead of coming May 6th, will be coming May 2nd.
Okay.
So yeah, but that's a bright spot. It's just like timing is good. Baby boy is super healthy and he's good. He's a little small, but that's great. But yeah, so everything's really cool. That's really great. Yeah.
Well, hey, if it's any consolation, when Bill, my husband, when Bill was born, he was 3 months premature and weighed about 2.5 pounds.
Wow.
He's turned out all right. So if that gives you any consolation at all, like, that was a pretty extreme situation, but like, he's all right.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Wow.
I know. Yeah. Due in October, born in July. Hello.
Hey, surprise, I'm here.
Just couldn't stay in there long enough, I guess. So we're very excited. Zach says dadhood is awesome. He is just and he's like, he has his own like actual kids. And then Brian, Nancy, others of I like, he's like, we call him dad.
Nice.
Because he just steps into that role for a lot of people, which is
that.
Amazing. And Leslie says will be the biggest blessing of your life. So just a heads up. It's coming.
I'm so excited.
It's coming.
I'm terrified, but I'm excited.
understandable, understandable. And you both are own community so much that
Mhm.
it's like you will be so supported, and I know that you know
Oh, yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and you'll be well fed because that's just what our community does, right? It's
Love a
like
meal train.
the meal train
Love
is
a meal
amazing.
train. Yep.
Like 6 weeks of meals. Okay. Um, so getting into this conversation of unmuting ourselves, one of the things we always talk about. We'll talk more about music. And by the way, if anyone has any questions about the process, we're going to share more about the journey and process that like of how we work
Yeah.
together. Because there's like this big mystery of how songs get written, how music comes to be that I was truly
Mhm.
blind to until 8 months ago, and I'm still figuring it out, and it's really cool. But we'll get to that. And if anyone has any questions along the way, just like drop in the chat, any comments that you have, and we will make sure that we address them. Tim's on it, and we'll make sure we get to them.
Thanks, Tim.
He's got it. Tim is legit. He's like, what did my dad call you? Oz, right? The man behind the curtain, the great and powerful Oz.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. That's what Tim is. So starting off, curious if you could share a story with us. You can decide any aspect of your life that a time or a way that you were muting yourself, holding yourself back, doubting
Mm.
yourself, and the journey you went on to kind of move through that and overcome it. Anything you want to
Mm.
share?
Man, at times that I've doubted myself. I feel like it's more times than I would have liked it to be, but that's just life. You
Yeah.
have circumstances and you just like question, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right direction?
Mm-hmm.
Um, experience that comes to mind is in college. As a lot of us, if you go to college, it's a time where you're kind of figuring out yourself, figuring out what you're doing next. And I started as a music education major, so I knew music was in my life. I knew it was going to be in my life forever. I went on a choir tour in high school, and we went all over Italy, and we sang all over Italy, and we sang in St. Peter's Basilica and sang these ginormous choirs with big orchestras, and it's beautiful. And I told the conductor after the last concert, I was like, I hope you know that you just made it so that it is impossible for me to not work in music for the rest of my life. Like, I hope you know that you just changed my life and possibly ruined my parents. But thank you. And so in college, like I knew I wanted to do music in some way, and because of process of elimination, I just assumed that that meant being a choir director in a school. I love kids, I love teaching, and I love singing in choir, and so being a choir director made sense. And so I got into school and started and hated it. I really did not enjoy it. I loved the music, I loved singing still, I loved being in around music people, but I hated the thought of I'm doing all of this to lead to being a teacher. Like, it didn't feel right in my spirit. I knew I liked teaching, but it didn't feel right in my spirit to picture myself 4 years from then and seeing myself in the classroom, doing that. And I was like, I feel like this is not what God is calling me to do. It's not where He wants me. So, of course, I started doubting my decision and decided, like, doubting what was next for me. I knew that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I knew that my dad raised me to own things and be in a business. I started a landscaping company when I was 10. So I was cutting grass and weeding and doing all that from ages 10 to 21. I had Integrity Lawn Care. And so my dad had raised me to be entrepreneurial, but he also wanted me to be stable. So a little conflicting ideas. And so I told him, I was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be a teacher. Letting you know I changed my major. Not like, hey, I'm thinking about changing my major. I was like, hey, I changed my major. Or I didn't even change my major. I just canceled my major and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do next. And yeah, it was panic mode after that. It was kinda just like, all right, I know that it's not being a teacher. I know that that's not what I'm called for. So it must be making a school. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And then it was like, it must be making a arts facility. And so there's a lot of different things that I thought about. And eventually it led to not the final product, what was it going to be, but I figured out what I love, and that is helping people create music. It was whatever avenue it was being with someone and helping them get from point A, which is the idea, to point B, which is the fruition of their idea. It's seeing their song come to life. And that started in college. So really started in high school. If I really am honest with myself, during lunch we would just get into a practice room, and I was like, "All right, who has a song idea? Let's make a song." And like I would have people hit me up during lunch, like, "Hey, I have the song idea. Could we go to the practice room and like make a song?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I would just do that in high school, and not thinking that like what I was leading myself into. But then in college, I would get with people in practice rooms again and just get with people and write music. And then I got more into it and I was like, okay, I'm actually good
Mm,
at this. So I don't know what this will turn into, but I know that this is like good. I know this brings life into me, and I know that I'm good and I'm giving other people life through it.
mm,
So I was pretty much just like, all right, I'm changing my major to just music, just a Bachelor of Science in music. And I got a minor in music industry and a minor in business communications, and liberal arts.
mm,
Um, and I had no idea what it was going to lead to, no idea what I was learning these things for, but I just knew I needed to learn more about business. I needed to learn more about the music industry, and I needed to be a better musician. Um,
mm,
and so that's what I invested in. It wasn't really getting a degree for a certain job. I just knew I needed to collect this knowledge and this experience because whatever's happening after I graduate is going to be somewhere in this.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so yeah, I freed myself from needing to know exactly what it was.
mm,
I freed myself from needing to explain also what the plan was and just
mhm.
trusting that okay, I'm each step that I'm taking feels right, feels comfortable, so I'm just gonna take the next step. And it turned out to be some good walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
I knew like we know each other from church. And so I know like,
Mhm.
I know a lot of people have shared this, on the show when they come on, but it's like a lot of times when we're having to make really difficult decisions and we're looking for discernment, a lot of the times like our community and our faith can serve as like a really strong compass, as almost like
Yeah.
when that gets unmuted. So just curious, anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the core, like, battery for me.
Mm,
Like, the core I guess really compass is like, okay, does this feel right in my spirit? God,
mm-hmm,
like not even what's next for me, but I almost have an idea,
mm,
say what my desire is to God and say, okay, God, this is what I want to do.
mm-hmm,
If this is not in your will, if this is not what you want, then cool. Readjust my route. But I'm
mm,
gonna take a step. And if there's a step there, when I take this step, if there's an actually surface there, then I'm believing that is you telling me that this is a way to go. And there's been times when there has been nothing there. And I'm like,
mm.
okay, back it up a little bit. God, you got it. Let me turn a little bit. Let me see if there's a step here. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I found my footing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's constant trusting that also God will provide what's needed
Mm,
to support me in that step.
mm,
There was times when literally in college, I think Aaron Baines in here, he was my roommate in college, best man at my wedding, still in my group, the Trills. But he knows there was times when I like for 2 weeks straight, maybe had like 53 cents in my
mm,
account. There was times when it was negative for a couple weeks. Telling Aaron, hey, I can't really pay rent right now. Like give me a couple days. But trusting God that he was like, all right, he's gonna provide. He's gonna make sure that
mm,
things happen. And he's
yeah.
always provided every single thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a piece in that, and kind of trusting that.
Yeah.
And I think it's powerful to recognize too, like the courage it takes to unmute ourselves and to go in a direction that might not be what is the most logical or the
Right.
most safe or the most, to your point, you were like, there's entrepreneurship and then there's stability.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
Like,
It's that tension.
there is this tension and it can be hard to that's one of the things you have to accept is like, yeah, I'm accepting risk, and Toby says here, it sounds like an excerpt from the book Blink, Malcolm Gladwell,
Mm.
learning to trust your instinct. And then there's faith, the basis of everything.
Yeah.
Um, and oh, I love it. Leslie says, she does a lot with schools. She's, I've had to mute the faith language in my talks at school, but I never mute my hope. So it's
Right.
like, there's ways I'm with you too. Like sometimes I've had to, when I'm going talking in corporate, right? I'm often talking about faith or grace or compassion or love. It's like,
Right.
okay, read between the lines. But it really makes sense. And Aaron
Yeah.
says pasta with salsa life. I
Oh,
guess that was
man.
your 50.
Oh, that was my meal. Go to Aldi, get some, was it 40 something cent pasta boxes and a a jar of salsa. That was my spaghetti.
Do what you gotta do. I mean,
That and
it's
saltine crackers with Kraft, cheese slices. Those were like my nachos. Man, I was killing it.
killing it. I love it. Well, and the funny thing is, like, in the midst of all of this, like, just to see where you now are, and like what you're about to be, stepping into,
Mhm.
um, is I think really, really important to mention, because when I think about what got us connected, I mean, we've known each other. How many years have we known each other? Like 5 years?
I, yeah,
6?
I'd
5?
give it 5.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got nudged. There's a person on this platform who's a coach I've worked with named Shay Rowbottom. Shout out. Shout out to Shay. And I was talking to her about like ways I could do things, differently, and how I was doing stuff on LinkedIn. And she said, you need to start doing like music videos, not just covers. Like I would record a cover from here of a song and I'd run a track behind it, StreamYard, put the video up. And she's like, you need to like get into a studio and do some stuff and do some covers. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to reach out to our mutual friend, Bryce, and be like, all right, Bryce, can I start working with you to do some covers? He's like, I'm kind of busy, but Leroy just like launched this music production company. You should talk to Leroy. And I was like, oh, what interesting timing.
Yep.
And then reached out to you. And I think my initial intent was to like work on some covers.
Yeah.
And then like showed up day one and you're like, so what do you want your first song to be about? What?
Yep. Well, yeah, because I remember you came in with like, yeah, I just want to like record something, but this is what I love doing. It's just like, well, what do you like? What's something that you want to say that like that's not in this cover? Like, what's something that, because obviously you as a speaker and the platform that you have lots to say, and there's a lot of value in what you say. And I'm a firm believer that music is just a intensifier of whatever communication you want to give. And so, yes, you can be on the stage speaking, but sometimes when you add music to that, there's a whole other possibility for how you can reach people.
Yeah.
So just like you being you, it's like we can't just do a cover. We can't just sing Celine Dion or whatever. Like, yes, they're great, but you have to, what's in you to create. And we did that.
Yeah, we did. And I remember I got to everyone speaking about the genius of this guy on the screen with me.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying, it's the truth. When we came on, I had this journal right in the beginning, the very top. I wrote, I am somebody, like I said, and I started writing down lyric ideas. And he was like, what do you want to say? And I said, well, I want to, talk about my journey of what it was to grow up with this kid who felt like she had to prove herself and felt like she couldn't mess up and felt like, she had to follow the rules and kind of stay in line. But she was like really struggling and, beneath that. And I want to give her a message that she doesn't have to prove herself to be worthy of being seen as somebody. And you, like I had told you, we had talked for some time, right? I had said, hey, here's the musicians. I like, Sarah McLachlan, and I grew up on Sarah McLachlan, Amy Grant, Mariah Carey, Desiree, Celine Dion, Shania Twain, like Adele, Lauren Daigle. Like those are my 8 to 10, whatever, musical inspiration. And you just start playing this like riff on the piano. And I'm like, did you just come up with that?
I think I did it while you were talking.
Yeah.
I think you were just like telling me about like what you wanted to say. I just started playing that. It's like, okay, this feels like the vibe.
It's like, I literally, my mind was blown. I was like, no. You did not just like, what? And then I just got so excited because I thought, oh my gosh, this is how this is going to work. Like there's certain things you have in your life that happen that talk about like taking the step and then almost like seeing 10 steps or like, it's a sure thing when you see the 10 steps come out ahead of you. You're like, ooh, this was a good call.
Yep.
Like it's been amazing. And then we started working on it and going back and forth. And I was like, how does songwriting work? And you're like, well, you started playing the melody line. And then you're like, you started playing that. And then you said, well, just kind of like hum along. Do you remember the guidance you gave me? Because you probably say it better than I can.
Well, I mean, I told you about the different ways that you can songwrite, and that there's no recipe, there's no exact way to do it. But the way that I prefer, and that we started with this song, was okay. Well, here's the piano, just like what feels right melodically, like no words involved, but what just feels good, just to hum along to. So we just play the da 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 da. And what's nice is that you were able to pick out that melody from the piano part that I was playing, because the piano part goes dun, 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 dun. I wish I had it set up with my keyboard to be able to play it. But dun, 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 dun. So you picked up on that immediately and just went da, 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 da. And so we started to recognize, okay, there's this phrasing in what you're doing. What
Yeah.
can we say now that matches with this melody?
Yeah.
That's some stuff that you've already written, one, just words wise.
Yeah.
And how can we fit that in to how does it communicate what we want this entire song to say?
Yes. And then that was like the beginning. It's like you get the momentum from that and you're like, ooh, like, right? No mistakes, know the rules. And then I remember there was a line, sometimes in songwriting, there's a line where like we had it a certain way for like a month and a half.
Uh-huh.
And then we changed it. We're like, oh, that changes so much
Oh
better.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, because the whatever you do informs now, like, what the next step is, but
Yeah.
sometimes that next step is like, "Oh, that now changes my perspective of what I did before." And so
Yes.
now you're like, "Okay, how can I best communicate this second part? How can I lead into that better to, like, fully give the message that we have?" So I think we
Yeah.
did that about, like, 5 times. We completely shifted a lyric just because, like, I feel like this makes more sense with what we're saying now with
Yeah,
the
like
song.
the logical. And then truly, I think I told you this, but when I left that session, so we meet everybody, we meet twice a month for 2 hours. I go to the studio that you're looking at right now where Leroy is, and we just like, we make music together. And I got home, I could not, it was a Friday afternoon. I have work to do, like other work that like I get paid for. And I could not stop writing. I mean, I had like 6 or 7 pages
Yeah.
in this notebook and I could not stop writing. And then I started sending you audio notes and I was like, ooh, what do you think about this for a chorus? And I was like an octave up, I think, but I was like, what if we did this for a chorus? Like, you are somebody, you matter and you are enough. Like, what if we did that for a chorus? And you're like
Yeah.
writing back and forth. You're like, yeah, I like that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, because what's cool is, like, you're sending me these voice memos, and I'm hearing, like, the entire how we can work it into the entire thing. 'Cause that's my favorite thing is to get an idea and find a way for it to work,
Mm,
like, without, just finding a way for it to work. Now, sometimes it's like, it doesn't work, like,
yeah,
it's just not gonna work, but I wanna try all the options. Because the cool thing about making music is all about just choices, and I tell you this all the time. It's all just choices.
yeah,
I could write a million different choruses for the song. There's
yeah,
a million different options. I think Quincy Jones says there's only 12 notes, but making music is just how you see those 12 notes. And so
mm,
everyone's working with the same exact 12 pitches. You
yeah,
have 12 options, but it's how you see it. And doing the math, there's an infinite well, math, it's not actually infinite, but there's really theoretically there's an infinite amount of options that you can have melody wise, words wise, rhythm wise. But it's to say, okay, I'm going to choose this idea. How
yeah.
can I work with this idea?
Mhm.
And I'd say it worked.
I'd say,
Yeah,
yeah.
it sounds
It
awesome.
it was like 4 months. We started September. We finished the song basically in like late December, January.
Hmm.
And then I remember when you were like, "All right, we got to get this up on this tool we use for distribution called DistroKid," and you were like, "Here's how we get it set up." And I think you were like, "Well, how do you want to get paid?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you get like paid when someone like downloads your song or
Yeah.
like you get paid for that." And I was like, "Oh, I wasn't I'm just doing this to create. I'm not doing this to make money." You're like, "Well, no, that's like kind of how it works." So you
Yeah.
like set that up.
It's like it's an option. You can get paid for
Yeah.
this.
It was so funny. It was just a reflection of like sometimes we have an art, a form of artistic expression. There's a bunch of people that are artists of some kind that are in
Hmm.
this live today because I know who they are and I know where their heart is. And sometimes like it's a matter of putting our art into the world regardless. Like I wasn't people said, "What were you expecting when the song released?" I was like, "What could I have possibly expected?" Like I've never done this before. Like
Right.
I don't know. I was probably asking you like what's like a good number? I don't know. Like how does this I just wanted to create
Yeah.
something and say something with music and get past this fear that I had my whole life of, performing for people.
Yeah.
Um and it was so I owed so much gratitude to you and everyone on this call that if you've been touched by this song, by the song Somebody, and you have been touched by like just how hypnotic and beautiful the instrumental is and the arrangement is, like this guy. I mean, it's been amazing. and such a gift, and the power of it. It just, to me, speaks to the power of collaboration, because I couldn't have done this by myself.
Mhm.
I don't play any instruments. I don't have a clue about how to produce or compose music. I can write, and I can write rhythmically, and I can
Mhm.
sing, but it just shows the power. If you want to speak into that at all, just like the
Yeah.
power of collaboration, and how this is a reflection of that in so many other areas of our lives, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the main core values of my now rebranded company, Hyson House, is collaboration. It's creativity, community, and collaboration, and
Mm,
confidence. But the thing about music, and I keep talking about like what music is, but
yeah.
music started as collaboration. It's people around a fire, people around kitchen, or people around somewhere hitting sticks, or shaking things around, or hitting the
Mm,
drum, or just singing together. Like music was meant for other people to partake with you.
mm,
And so the best music is created when you have other people. And that's why I love my acapella group, that is it's literally 6 voices making music with just our voices, and seeing what we can create with just voices.
mm,
And just like you said, like, you wouldn't have been able to make this without me. I also wouldn't have been able to make this without you. Like, this is a completely different style. If you were just like, "Leroy, make a song right now,"
yeah.
it would not be this style of music. I
Mm,
rarely have any strings in my music or any piano in my music, but for your music, for this song, it was like, "This is what makes sense." Our both of our experiences and our preferences led to this song. And
mm,
so, I love this song, and I would have never made it unless we had had this conversation of, "Hey, let's make a song." Oh, what do we wanna
awesome.
say with this song? Oh, we wanna say that, like, I am somebody. That's something that I wanna teach, or, like, teach my younger self. I wanna say this, that I am somebody, you are enough. And it's like, okay, well, how can we communicate that well? And so
Mm,
it uses your message and my past experiences and my keyboard to make this song. And every song that I make, that all of my favorite songs are the ones that involved other people contributing.
mm. That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear that from your perspective, and how that worked. And like, it it's just a reminder that anything that is really significant in terms of a contribution to the world
Mhm.
rarely, if ever, happens in isolation.
Yeah.
Like it and that can be hard for me. I'm very much like a independent. I grew up with parents that are entrepreneurs, and
Right.
do it yourself and figure it out. It's not that they don't ask for help, but like the model that I had was like you can do it. You can do it. Not
Yeah.
like collectively you can do it. Like you individually, and because you can means you should, just you. And so I've spent
Right.
way more of my time being isolated. Um, in terms of just how I exist than in collaboration, because the isolation piece is more familiar, more comfortable. It's not
Mhm.
really more comfortable, but like in the moment feels more comfortable and safe because
Right.
it's familiar. But I feel so alive every time I leave a session. Oh my gosh. And then this most recent song that is not out
Mm.
yet, but this was a different process, right? This was like I had a poem that I wrote
Right.
back in December when so for those you know, so Twitch, who is the DJ and dancer on Ellen's show and did so many other things, So You Think You Can Dance, and like other, just this
Mhm.
talented artist in so
Amazing.
many ways. When he uh, passed away and committed suicide in December, I mean, it seemed like it like rocked the world. Like everyone was like, "What?" Like, but he was such a bright light. But he was so, no one saw it coming, kind of thing. No one saw it
Mhm.
coming. And Leslie's here. Her work focuses on suicide prevention, um, and um, and she lost her son Austin, and so she has become a fierce advocate for
Mm.
suicide prevention. And she's one of the people that I shared the song with before it went live.
Oh,
Somebody,
wow.
because that song was also inspired by watching a documentary called Bully, and seeing these kids who've been horribly bullied, and after one of the parents lost one of their sons, they gave everyone these bracelets that said "I am somebody." So that's where they came from. So it's interesting that there's a connection for both of these songs.
Mhm.
Is that theme? But this next song was like, I came in, I'm like, all right, I was on a Peloton ride, and I said, I think I got a melody for the chorus, and then
Mhm.
like sent it to you. I'm like, I think this is,
Yep.
like, check
Well, and
on the
also
light bulbs.
the idea of check on the light bulbs, that
Yeah,
came from,
a
a
coach.
Facebook post, right?
A coach, a friend of mine, yeah, Delatoro
Yeah.
McNeil. He had posted a post on Instagram that just was, it was just like a written post of like, hey, check, when Twitch passed, check on the light bulbs. And I was like, and then I couldn't stop. It was like this obsession. And
Yeah.
I'm curious about how this works for you too, the obsessive piece of it. Like it was a Tuesday, I think. And I saw that the night before, and that afternoon, like Tuesday afternoon, for like 2 hours, I wrote this poem, and I couldn't do anything else. I just
Yeah.
became upset, like so laser focused on writing this poem of what does it mean to check on the light bulbs, the people in our life that we assume are fine
Right.
when they're right, like,
And that shook me when you told me about that and you showed me your poem. I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
mm,
Like, this is something that no one talks about. Well,
yeah,
the thing they talk about it the 2 weeks after a tragic thing happens,
right,
but it's always and there's always, like, in the hip hop world, they always say, "Give flowers before they're gone."
mm,
Like, a lot of times someone will die and it's like, "Oh, man, he was so great at this. He was the best at that. He did that." But it's like, no, like, honor the people that are living
yeah,
now. Like,
mm,
and obviously honor the dead as well, but, like, honor and love people as they're here and check on them now. Make sure that people are good now instead of looking after the fact of like, "Oh, man, they were so good. I forgot. I didn't realize how great they were." It's like,
mm,
no, just, like, check on the light bulb. So when you showed me that poem, I was like, "Oh, we have to make this a song. This has to be a message."
yeah. And we've got some gospel vibes coming up in
Oh,
here,
man.
everybody.
Oh, man.
Like, can I tell you? I gotta tell you a story about something. I spoke at an event. So I spoke at an event on Friday about everybody matters, and I ended the song with singing somebody from the stage. They had a monitor up there for me, and I got to sing it live, which was like so fun. And I had people standing at the end and like clapping, and like some of them were singing the chorus
Yeah.
at the end, like just so fun, right? Um, and and gave them all these cards that said you matter, and then the goal was that they were going to give one to somebody, and then we gave them all these stickers. I had stickers made that said you are somebody, you
Mhm.
matter, you are enough. I know you know these stickers. And that was like really cool to see. But then afterwards, I was talking to a group, and welcome. I just want to do a reset of the room just to, I know Marcello has joined us. Welcome. Veda's here. I know glad that you're here. Tim and Zach and Toby and George is still with us, and Leslie and Maureen. Let us know if level set if you if you haven't. Let us know. Daniel Hall is here, and Daniel Hall said that this song. He said something earlier. I might have missed it, Tim, but he said this song has changed the way that I see myself. That's about somebody as an
Mm.
aside. And I know Natalie said she already listened to it 3 times today, so it's like just this reminder of the power of that song. And for this next one, you know, so I was playing this. I was sitting outside at a patio with these 3 women after I did the keynote with singing somebody at the end. And there was this woman, I had a sense, there were 2 of them that were there. One of them walked away. 2 of them were there. And I could sense there was something just on my spirit to share with this woman who was there. And I said, I have a demo track. And no, we're not going to play it right
Mm.
now. You'll have to wait for the song to be done. Um, but this person had, there was something on my heart. And I said, I have the demo track on my phone. So it's like not finalized by any means. I just feel called to play it for you. Leroy, she was in like
Oh.
sobbing,
Oh.
tears running down her face, like, and at the end, just like 5 hugs, said this, like, thank you.
Wow.
And so I feel like this next one is really gonna hit people
Yeah.
in a powerful way, and so everyone knows where we are with it. Lyrics are done. We're getting the band together, and then we're gonna get a little
Yep.
bit of choir action up in here, and then we're gonna record
I
the
mean, we're talking bass
vocals.
player, drummer, electric guitarist, organ player, keys player, background vocals. I mean, and Rachel's voice on this one. So I'm assuming you've said your background in singing and how you were in gospel choir in college, and that's
Uh,
like
yeah,
a big part of your roots
it's
is
my roots.
singing gospel. And
Yes.
man, Rachel's voice in this song, like in Somebody, like your voice is awesome. Obviously, you're Rachel, but this song, it's like on a whole other level,
Oh,
whole other level. And this is just the demo that we have that we have recorded.
yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm so excited for people to hear this one.
Yeah, I am too. It's gonna be like, it's just I like like there's just gonna be some moments. It's just, this song is, it's on another level, and I feel like there's just such it's so needed right now, especially,
Mhm.
like we
Yeah,
say in the
absolutely.
song, right? One of the lyrics, like, How we're showing up isn't working. We pretend we're okay when we know that we're not.
Mm,
Sneak peek, that's one of the lines of the
mm.
song. But it just, I get to get into that gospel voice because that was really found my voice to your point. Like I was in college, avoided choir in high school, joined gospel choir in college, really stepped into my voice. Cause it's like, if you think about it, right? Like Mariah Carey, Amy Grant, like
Yeah.
Desiree, like gospel roots up in
Yeah.
all that and soul. And so singing this song is like so fun because it's like getting to step into the,
Yeah.
Zach,
Yeah.
Zach,
Sorry, everybody. Sorry, not sorry.
y'all gotta wait. But it's just powerful, you know. And the thing I've realized is this: is when we hold ourselves back, when we mute ourselves because we decide, oh, maybe that's already been said before, or
Mm,
maybe what I have to share isn't good enough, or maybe, you know, maybe I don't really have what it takes to do this thing at this level, and so I'm just not even going to try.
mm.
I'm not even going to put it out there at all because I'm already judging myself and deciding I'm like jury of one, not good enough. And we do that in so many areas of our lives. We say like, and then we hide it. And I think about, you know, when you're muting yourself, when you're silencing yourself, when you're holding something back, a contribution that you're supposed to make in the world,
Right.
it doesn't just hurt you when you do that. All the people that were supposed to be impacted or healed, or Veda said this song, somebody is a song of healing. Like, and I've had multiple people share that, like, you know, shared it with my husband who has PTSD and he was in tears, or multiple people, they left on Friday, like, I'm going to share this song with my daughters. Multiple people said
Right.
that. Like, think about what happens because we become so narrow-minded and thinking, this is uncomfortable for me, or I don't know if I have what it takes, so I'm just not going to do it. You're not just affecting you. You're affecting
Hmm.
everyone else that could have been impacted by your contribution, your
Right.
art.
Exactly. And the thing is, you said the fear of saying like, "Oh, it's been done before. Like someone's done this before." The truth is, it has been.
Mm.
It has been. Like, you know how many songs there are in the world that say "I love you"?
Mm.
Like, how many songs there are in the world where someone says that they love someone in
Yeah.
some way? There's no way to count how many.
Yeah.
However, every single time someone puts out a song that says that, it means the world
Mm.
to someone.
Yeah.
They've heard the song before,
Mhm.
but they haven't heard it from that person.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference. That you're so unique in who you are that you saying something that someone else has said still has a completely different impact because you're a completely different person. And
Mhm.
so you making your art is because, or you making your art is so impactful because it's you making the art, not because the art is this groundbreaking thing. Yeah, some people have groundbreaking art to give. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's even more impactful. It's like, hey, here's my simple gift of just what I have to give
Yeah.
from me.
Mhm.
And that's it. And people receiving that is like, I want that from you. Like that's why I enjoy it. And that's why I love, like, there's a new era of marketing going on, like with TikTok and social
Mhm.
media, where consumers are starting to just want you now.
Mm.
It's not like, oh, I want the coolest this thing. They're just like, I want to know the person behind the thing. Like a lot of people complain about TikTok and how it's like, oh, it's so much reach on people, and we have so much access to all these celebrities or influencers.
Mhm.
But really, what it is, people are just like, we don't want the fancy commercials. We don't want the all the lights and glamour. We just want to see this person in their kitchen cooking their meal and
Yeah.
teaching us how they cook that meal. That's
Yeah.
who I want to buy from. That's who I want to consume from. And so, like, you making your art is just like, here's me in
Yeah.
this little gift that I have
Mhm.
that is small to me, but you have no idea how impactful it is to whoever's taking that.
Yeah. It's, you never know. You don't always know the downstream impact, and that's not the point, right? It's like we don't always know the downstream impact of a thing. Of it's like
Yeah.
we put our drop in the puddle, right? Drop. There could be 50 layers of rings that goes out as an impact, and you might know 2 layers of it.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
might never see 2 layers. You never know, you know? And I think, you know, when I was leaving this event, I made these bookmarks. I haven't shared these on here yet. And I bet I'm going to get bombarded. Send me one. We'll see. I'll figure out. But I made these bookmarks They say borrow other people's belief in you, which is something I say a lot.
Mm.
And then on the backside, I put the QR code to somebody to remind people like you are somebody, you matter, you are enough. And I gave these to some people at the event I was at on Friday.
Right.
And when they came up to me and said, I want to share this song with my daughter, I said, let me make it easy for you. Here, give her a bookmark. Like,
Love that.
give her a
Love
bookmark.
that. That's
and
so good.
she can scan it and she can be reminded, because some are like, my daughter's struggling, and my daughter's going through this, some challenges with her mental health, and my daughter's really struggling with her confidence. And we need to borrow other people's belief in us. And I feel like I borrow your belief in me when you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. You've got that. Like, I want to show up even more fully with what I'm doing. And when you're like, you can hit that note, like, get out of here. Go on and hit that note. It's just like, I think of one of my favorite moments. People don't know, I don't think we've shared this on here. At the end of the song, when there's a part where
I know what you're gonna say.
Tell it.
Are you talking about the note?
Yeah.
That was changed.
Yeah, tell it.
So there's a part where she's singing, as you all know, you matter and you are enough. You are somebody. You matter and you are enough. So that you didn't exist at first. It wasn't there. It was just you matter and you are enough. But when we were looking at the audio, there's a way, if you've ever recorded music, there's something called manual pitch correction, and it's when you can shift things around if you want to. And what I was doing just to have fun is like, okay, what if we just change this melody a little bit? And I made it like way higher than I wanted it to. Like I shifted it and it went like 2 notes higher than it was supposed to. And so it went, you matter and you're on enough. Like made it sound like a robot. But then we looked at each other and was like, but wait, that's not bad. That could be cool if we did that. But then it was like, oh, can I sing it? It's like, yeah, no, you're gonna sing that. You're definitely singing that. So then we got on the mic and she sang it. You are enough. And man, I think probably one of my favorite moments in the entire song.
It's like it was like what Bob Ross calls happy little accident or something, or a happy accident. Like
that was great.
It's like we didn't do it on purpose, but that's also the thing of being open. I think the message here too is in your life, in your work, in your creative expression, your art, to be open to a path that you didn't necessarily expect, or a path that at first glance is like, that wasn't really what I thought was going to happen, but maybe that could work.
Right.
I just think that's a good life lesson, too, of reminding ourselves of it may not look the way that you think it's going to look, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work.
Right. I mean, that's like when as Christians, like we believe that God uses things that are broken and turns into something beautiful. And that's just like the nature of our life is lots of things that's just like, that wasn't supposed to work out. But God's just like, nah, I got you. Yeah. We're gonna make this a good story. We're gonna make this a really, really great, impactful life that you're gonna have. Yeah. And so like us being able to also walk in that is a beautiful thing, to be able to look at something that's like a mistake, something that wasn't supposed to happen, and turn it into this beautiful art.
Yeah. Like I think of a song coming up that we haven't talked about yet. I already have an idea for, I know I sent it to you, a chorus for the 3rd song. And then for the 4th song, I'm like, you better believe that something about this accident that I was in 3 years ago that literally tried to break me, or did break my back, but was not going to totally break me and destroy. Like there's a message there about, when we don't see things coming and how we can still connect to the strength to get through the thing. And so there's going to be a song, just so y'all know, there's going to be a song about that's going to be coming out. So it's just like, it's so fun. What's that?
I said, didn't see it coming.
Didn't see it coming. Yeah.
Too much to speak. Oh man.
Too much. I don't write songs. I write poetry. Oh, okay. Here's a question. I think it's Natalie. I do write poetry and would love to see if any of them might be able to be turned into songs. Question: what suggestions do you have for me to possibly get started? I don't sing well, so I need someone to sing my poetry. Hint, hint, Rachel.
I love the parentheses. Well, I love that because that's crucial. That's crucial because I'm a firm believer that everyone can make music in some way, some sort. And saying that you don't sing, but saying well is crucial because I would bet to believe that you are in your car or in your shower or somewhere singing. So you do sing. And so I'm glad you made that change. Um, yeah, I mean the key to this really is what we were talking about before, and that's collaboration. It's using people around you and saying, "Okay, I have this idea. I have these words I want to put together." Maybe you know someone that does make music and they do know how to create a melody. So they look at your poetry and say, like, "Okay, let's put your poetry into a song." So say your poetry said, I was using roses are red, violets are blue.
Yeah.
That's the lyric. So now you think, okay, roses are red, violets are blue. That's just your rhythm. Roses are red, violets are blue. So
Yeah.
now you can sing it a little bit or have someone sing it. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm feeling lost, but I know I love you. Like that. Now you have a song, and now you add guitar or piano to it, and that's an entire composition of a song.
Yeah.
And it's just taking that and multiplying that for
Hmm.
an entire song, and that's how you do it. It
Well,
takes practice, of course.
well, related to this, it's a follow-up question, I feel like. Thank you for answering that. And
Yeah.
hopefully, Natalie, now you have a song idea. Leslie says, can you explain the difference between songwriting and composition? My daughter's a music composition
Mm.
major and taught me about this.
So I feel like there's probably a million different conversations of what that is, because I always have a theory that a song is different than a piece of music.
Mm,
Now I don't know how correct that is, but my feeling of it is a piece of music is any collection of pitch or rhythm or melody together,
mm,
um, put in any form. So it could literally just be me tapping on a table and just like feeling that energy, feeling the vibe of music. That's a piece of music. I can compose that as a piece of music. A song, it turns into a song when you have a message to that music. When you
mm,
add lyrics to it, really, I, I
mm,
I would say that lyrics is what makes the difference between a piece of music that was composed and then a song. Now you can
mm,
compose a song. Compose is just to I guess put together pieces of different musical ideas and put them
mm,
together in one package. That's composing something. But I think what you might be asking is like what's the difference between like a composition major like composing pieces of music and songwriting, and that's part of it. But you learn a lot about songwriting through composition. You learn about music theory, you learn about what pitch does, you learn about the different intervals of melodies and stuff, how to put songs together, but it's all connected.
it's all connected.
I could literally go for hours talking about these things.
Toby says songs are stories in music.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed they are. And I know, side note, Leslie asked a question earlier about Sweetwater. I order all my
Ooh.
stuff from Sweetwater. Leslie, I get my soundboard, my microphone, all my stuff. They're incredible. Sweetwater, I think,
Ooh.
right? You want to comment on that?
Yeah. I haven't told you this yet.
Tell me.
So I'm actually working with Sweetwater right now.
What?
We've created a Hyson House bundle. So it's a bundle and you get a discount when you order it through like Hyson House. But it's key like essential at home recording gear. So we'll probably talk about this in a second, I'm assuming, but Hyson House it's a rebranding of my company Next Level Music, which is what Rachel was introduced to. But Hyson House is now transitioning to a more trying to help people to be able to record and make music at home and do things from their room, from their comfort place.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to do was create this bundle of like, okay, if you want to make music at home, here are some budget equipment items that you can get from Sweetwater. And it's a interface. So it's a interface for you to be able to plug a mic into. It's an actual microphone. It's a mic stand. It's a little pop filter so that it sounds good. And it's just essential things you need to work with. But I think Sweetwater is the most amazing technology and music company known to man. They have the
Yeah,
best customer service. It's crazy.
100%. They're, I agree. I get all my stuff from them. And the customer service is awesome too.
Amazing.
Like,
Kyle,
and
the
they're
Sweetwater
smart.
guy is on my phone. He's my sales rep.
Well, they all know music. Like they actually know music and they like
Yeah.
know engineering and they know sound and they as opposed to order from Amazon and you're like, where did I get this from? So
Hmm.
for sure, if you're ever ordering any type of sound or vocal or even just speaking or podcast equipment, like Sweetwater, music, hands down, is the
Yeah,
best.
big time.
Well, I can't believe it. I will share what everybody like it. Drop in the chat. You got to know. I need at least 10 comments that are supporting this, or I'm not going to do it. If you want me to sing another snippet, it's going to be a cappella. So we're still hiding some things from you, but I can sing a snippet of the chorus of the song, the next song. If you want it, just say I do, or yes, please, or something in the comments. If we have at least 10 comments of doing that, then I will do it. If you want to let us know, we're going to drop it. Tim's like, I'm doing all these. Let us know, everybody. But where can people find you, Leroy? Where can people connect with you, find you, learn more? Tell us.
Yeah, so my personal handle on Instagram and Facebook, you can find me on Leroy.Hyson. But this new company that I'm starting, Hyson House, you can find it at Hyson House on all platforms. The website is being made right now, but right now YouTube and Instagram is going to be the main platform for giving content. So I'm gonna be releasing a lot of content for how to make your own music, how to do things from the comfort of your home, how to just create the music that you want to, the stuff you hear in your head, how to actually have it come to life. And my company, Hyson House, is to help you walk through that process and making your music.
I love it. So much more amazing. So many more amazing creations are going to come out of Hyson House. And I am, for one, grateful that we get to work together and that you're never going to get rid of me. We're just going to work together as long as you will let me work with you. Like forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And with that, buddy, we got enough. I think I see 10 yeses. There's 10 yeses. So I'm going to do it. I'll sing. So this is a snippet and it's going to be obviously Maureen. So I'm just going to do a snippet of the next song that we're going to do. And I'll sing a little bit of the chorus. I don't even know if I'm going to be on the right note, but it really doesn't matter because you don't know what note is anyway. So, so here we go. All right. Okay. All right. Check on the light bulbs. You know who they are. The ones that burn brightest, the ones that ignite us. They live like a spark. So check on the light bulbs before they go out. You don't see them dimming the light they're emitting until they fade out. So check on the light bulbs. I sang that too low. But anyway, that's a snippet of the song.
It was so good. Oh, but it's so good.
Y'all, that's what we got coming. It's gonna be pretty awesome, and I can't wait. We're gonna take you all to church, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And it is gonna be another song of healing. It's gonna be another song that, like, the world, I believe that the world needs, that humans need right now. And we're gonna keep making music together, doing awesome things. And yeah, I'm grateful for you, Leroy, and I'm so excited for you becoming a dad. And it's gonna be the best. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here. We changed the schedule. Next week, I have another guest because I'm out May 1st and 8th traveling for work, speaking engagements. So we're going to have Mayan Gordon on the show next week. So heads up about that. She's going to be a really fun guest. And then I've got Rick Hansen, who is a New York Times bestselling author of a bunch of my favorite books. He's going to be on the show on May 15th. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all. Thank you, Leroy. Thank you all for being here. Amazing community. Carla and Zach and Melinda and Toby and Natalie and Tim and Maureen and Buddy and John and everybody, Rich and all the peoples, all the amazing peoples who just showed up today, as you always do. So with that, thank you. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you next week, same time, same place. Bye, everybody.
Bye.